Welcome, it's Debrup on Air. I'm your host Debrup Laha, and this is The International Lens, where we dive into the real life stories of international students in the US. I have been in your shoes, earning both my bachelor's and master's degrees here, and now I'm working full time in the States. This podcast series is for you, whether you're already studying in the US or just planning to. Every week, I'll bring you conversations with students from all over the world, sharing their journeys, challenges, and triumphs. My mission? It's to give you the insights and inspirations you need as you carve your own path in the US. So, whether you're dreaming of studying here or already on your journey, this podcast is your ultimate guide. Tune in and let's make your American adventure one to remember. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of The International Lens. Today, as we dive into the world of mechanical engineering, we have with us Mr. Vyush Yashas, who's a current second year graduate student pursuing his master's in mechanical engineering at NYU Tandon School of Engineering. Today, we would learn more about the academic journey, projects, and how one can progress as a mechanical engineer in the US. So, whether you're just an aspiring student or just curious to know what mechanical engineering is about, watch till the end to learn more insights about how Vyush and I discuss about this program. Hey Vyush, thank you so much for taking the time today to speak with me.
Hey there, bro. Happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. It's a weekend, so a little bit relaxing, and then we kickstart with the week once more tomorrow.
Great.
So, before we get started, could you walk us through a little bit about yourself and your academic program and your educational background?
Hi everyone. I'm Vyush Yashas. I did my undergrad back in India from university called PS University. It's in Bangalore. I did mechanical engineering there. Then I directly came to US NYU Tandon School of University for my master's program, again in mechanical. Right now, my study is mainly focused in mechanical, but specializing in HVAC, a lot of HVAC subjects, MEP design engineering.
Okay. So when you were planning to come to the US for your master's, was MEP your first choice, or were you trying to do something else and then you diverted to MEP?
So my thinking was I was okay with doing anything related to mechanical. Even in my undergrad, I have taken up projects that is involved in thermodynamics.
Mm-hmm.
My specialization is in manufacturing engineering, and the club that I was a part of was automotive.
Okay.
So everything was like interesting, but I I always wanted to come to New York City, and that's why my main college, the number one that I chose, was NYU. And I felt taking MEP will provide me with job opportunities anywhere in the world and basically anywhere in the United States, because most of the other fields they are kind of secluded towards the western coast. There are
Mm-hmm.
opportunities like a little bit in this side as well, but they're
Yeah,
mostly in the western coast. So I thought not taking MEP would be a better choice for me because I always wanted to live in New York City.
makes sense. And a fun fact about this is when I started with my master's degree program, I had no idea what HVAC. I knew the term HVAC, and I had no idea that there is a separate sector called MEP. So I was also more intrigued towards manufacturing, product design, quality, and I was taking courses related to that. And our advisor at NYU Tandon, he suggested us just to take a couple of HVAC courses as a backup option, just to make sure that I'm safe. And now when I look at this, when I rewind the clock, I'm like, those two courses probably helped me in my career because I'm in the MEP sector working for 7 years now. Little did I know anything about MEP, but that's like my bread and butter currently. So I guess what you told initially, that keeping an open mind and having like all the options available is probably a better choice given the current market, because getting one job is very difficult, and also in a core engineering sector. So that's a very good advice that you mentioned. And so while you were pursuing your undergrad, did you do any internships?
I did. I actually did two internships. I think one was between my somewhere between third and fourth year, and was between second and third year. The first was related to machine learning and artificial intelligence applied on autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
It was mostly project-based internship. So under a group of four, we just worked on data analysis that we got from a different company regarding their autonomous vehicle, and we just analyzed it, applied our theoretical knowledge, and then supplied them with results that, hey, maybe this might be wrong with the vehicle at this particular instance, stuff like that. And the second was I interned in an e-commerce company where I was part of the innovations department. So
Okay.
there we just looked at thermodynamic stuff like cold room storage setup and whether the fruits and everything are fresh inside whatever setup that the other companies are providing.
Makes
So,
sense. So from AI, you shifted to thermodynamics for your second
yeah.
internship. And then you decided to do your master's in mechanical engineering with the focus on MEP systems or HVAC.
Yeah.
That's a good transition because, I mean, as you know, AI, ML jobs are the most widely spoken in the modern day. Like whoever you speak to in different fields, these buzzwords are in everyone's conversations. Whereas in the MEP industry, we are more focused in design, like doing hardcore engineering design calculations without the use of AI to that extent. I mean, we still use some AI tools, probably you're also using, but we don't use it as our like one of the major tools for our everyday work. Interesting. So, and while you were doing your while you started your masters at NYU, could you first walk us through how the program is currently at, how the program currently at NYU is?
So I feel the masters in NYU is providing a lot of innovative work, especially in the robotics field, in the manufacturing field, and then MEP field. I feel apart from that, there is not a lot of presence of aeronautical or automotive engineering, even though the department name is mechanical and aerospace at the moment, which is kind of ironical. But there are a lot of innovations, I feel, especially in the robotics field, because our university provides a lot of hands-on clubs based
Mhm.
on these fields, which I feel is amazing. And the professors, in especially what I faced with my MEP, the professors are amazing. It's like one of the best professors that I've had the privilege to study under. So that's quite a win.
Yep. I mean, it was the same case when I was also a student because although the department was named MAE or Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, there were, I think, couple of aero courses, and that too was dependent on okay, it has to have the minimum number of students registering in order for them to offer that course. So it eventually ended up being just a mechanical engineering program with focusing on manufacturing and MEP. We didn't have too many robotics courses also when we were students, but it's good to know that there are robotics courses offered for mechanical engineering students because we also have a separate department of mechatronics and robotics, right? A separate
Yeah.
specialty. So yeah, those students used to take those courses, but it's good to know that mechanical engineering students are also getting a little bit of an experience on the robotics sector. So, what made you? So, I'll come back to the same question. Robotics, very popular. Manufacturing, very popular. Why did you decide to do MEP?
This thermodynamics, I always kind of liked thermodynamics, how interesting it was. And I feel that even though I didn't know then, but I always liked designing.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of CAD, AutoCAD, Fusion. So I think since this was a design, kind of like a design job and opportunities to, have kind of mix of everything. Sometimes hybrid work, sometimes go to the office, sometimes go to the site. So it's a mix of everything. And I feel MEP provided the best platform for me to still stay in New York City compared to other fields. And ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to live in the Big Apple, I guess.
Yeah,
So
I
that's why I
mean,
just stuck with MEP.
I get that. And another thing is that since you're speaking about MEP, New York is one of the major hubs for construction in the US. So I guess that is one of the reasons why the MEP or the HVAC specialty of NYU is very popular because there are more jobs here as compared to manufacturing or quality than as it's in HVAC. So I guess this is one of the very rare schools where there is an HVAC specialty in a master's degree program. I don't think a lot of schools do offer. Did you hear from your peers that others are focusing on MEP systems while they're doing their masters?
Not specifically. I have one friend in UIUC, and his friend, he has taken a few courses that they don't teach MEP particularly, but like few of the courses inside a main course, like an elective, it will have few chapters. A few of the
Okay.
chapters are based on MEP, but not an entire course, for it.
Right. So the MEP or the HVAC courses at NYU, it's a standalone course, right? Where you just focus on HVAC systems.
Yeah.
And which are those HVAC courses that you have taken so far?
So in my first semester, the first elective that I took was it was based on design of HVAC, where it was just a lot of design. We worked with water source, heat pump, create riser diagrams,
Hmm.
understood how to size the equipments, create a schedule, and then commissioning checklist. So it
Okay.
was very hands-on extensive course. The second one I took was thermodynamics of HVAC. It was related to a lot of theoretical aspects behind HVAC. The third one that I took was heat transfer of HVAC. In this, we focused much more on analysis, so learned how to use Train Trace 700, widely used in our MEP industry. So that
That
was
was
really
for
helpful.
the heating and cooling load calculations, right?
Correct, yes. And then I did a couple of projects. So one project I did was based on VRF system,
Okay.
variable refrigerant flow. So worked on the VRF system of one building. And then right now I'm working on one more project that is related to HVAC for data centers.
Okay. All right. HVAC for data centers will have a lot of jobs, especially for the big
Yeah,
companies. So that is a pretty hot topic from what I can see in the industry currently.
yeah,
And if I may add, when I was a student, I also took another course which was HVAC for fluid mechanics. Although it
yeah,
was called HVAC for fluids, it was all about sprinkler design in a building. So now, like I'm working as a plumbing and fire protection engineer, and sprinkler design is one of my major tasks. So I sometimes wonder why was this course named as HVAC, because it had nothing to do with heating, ventilation, or air conditioning. It was all about sprinkler design and selecting the backflows. So, but it seems like that you are focusing only on the HVAC portion, right? Like you want to be like you are a mechanical engineer and focusing on the HVAC systems.
yeah.
Do you think there is any upper hand while doing mechanical versus plumbing? As and did you do any firstly, did you do any internships in this sector yet?
Yes, I did intern in the summer of 2024 at an MEP firm itself, where I mostly worked on the mechanical aspect. I also did a little bit of plumbing, learned a few from my mentors,
Okay.
and I also wanted to do a little bit of fire safety, but like couldn't get the opportunity to do like that kind of work yet.
And you realize HVAC or mechanical is your strength.
Yeah.
So you like putting all the big duct work,
Yeah.
all the diffusers and chillers and water source heat pumps. I mean, so with respect, since you mentioned about water source heat pumps, these heat pumps can also, we also use that for plumbing systems for producing domestic hot water. So I guess one modern way or one way in which people are trying to do in projects is doing a hybrid system between mechanical and plumbing, where they're choosing the air source heat pumps and whatever extra like MBH or the heat is available, that they're supplying to the plumbing engineers to produce hot water heater. That way we can use whatever available heat is available, and then we are using that to convert to go through a refrigerant and then to a heat exchanger to produce domestic hot water. So I guess there is a good balance of mechanical and plumbing engineers when we think about MEP. And for electrical, I guess we just select our equipment and give all the data to them and they provide power. Right. So you are doing your specialty in MEP systems at NYU. Are most of the mechanical engineering students doing the same thing, or is it like diverse and people are doing it in manufacturing as well?
I feel it's a mix of all three that I mentioned before: robotics, manufacturing, and MEP. There are a lot of students involved in all three. I think I wouldn't say that there are more students in MEP than other, courses. It's well balanced at the moment, I feel.
And
Yeah.
how and what are the or what was the internship situations with them? Did they also get internships in manufacturing and other fields?
I feel 2024 and even 2025 was a really tough time to get an internship, and I didn't see a lot of success with other students, sadly. So I felt like the job market is at a, it's at a weird place at the moment. So I think I only know one other student who was able to secure an internship, and it was in the energy firm.
Okay. So it was similar to the building industry, kind of.
Yeah.
Not really in the, okay, so that is one good thing that students should keep in mind, that there are some roles in the building industry where international students are being hired, whereas the market in the other side of mechanical engineering would is a little challenging currently, given the current situation of the market. Okay, I mean, that is something important that students should consider because, like I mentioned, whenever I speak to mechanical engineering students, everybody wants to do manufacturing, everybody wants to do product design. Very few people, including myself, once upon a time did MEP. So, this is something everybody should keep in mind. So, given your experience now, you worked in India for a couple of internships, then you're doing your master's, you did an internship here. What are some key softwares you think students should learn before they come for their masters?
I feel for mechanical in general, SolidWorks is a really good software, no matter what area of expertise you pursue. SolidWorks is something that you should really work on.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, an analysis software is also a good thing to learn. Me personally, I would prefer ANSYS, but there are a
Answers.
lot others like COMSOL for fluid and stuff. And then if we are focusing on MEP, then AutoCAD is our best friend. And if then we are well familiarized with AutoCAD, then we can move on to, I think, Revit.
Okay. I mean, in our firm, we only use Revit. We don't use AutoCAD at all, but I do see a lot of firms use a mixture of AutoCAD as well as Revit. So I guess it's better to have an experience of both. But that being said, I'm seeing the industry shifting a little bit to Revit, where you can do a complete 3D model and do a complete coordination between all trades. Because
Yeah.
one thing which I hear from students when they first are trying to learn Revit is that AutoCAD is completely 2D. So in general, your pipe can go through a duct in a 2D view, but still be okay if your pipe is above the duct in an elevation point of view. But you can't learn that or you can't understand that unless you do a full 3D coordination or an MEP coordination. And that is only possible if you have a 3D software. So I think that's one of the reasons the industry is shifting a little bit towards Revit to ensure that there is less work where, or less like clashes when they're in a CA phase where the contractor is having to do a full design and then they're saying, okay, pipes are all over the place with ducts and pointing, like poking through ducts. There are electrical conduits all around. So people are trying to avoid that. And that's why I guess if there's a sudden or there's a slight shift towards Revit. But that being said, projects take a long time to be done in Revit because you have to model properly. You can't just draw a line like in AutoCAD. So that
Yeah.
is something which I have noticed. Is that the same experience from your end as well?
Yeah, I feel I'll definitely say for designing purposes, Revit was one of the toughest software that I had to like get a grasp of. It took longer than other softwares for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some other software that you're using in your or you use during your internship?
So for my internship, we mostly used AutoCAD because I was working under a particular mentor and that
Mhm.
project required AutoCAD. But I also worked another mentor where client wanted a Revit model for it. So I used Revit for like that particular project. I used a lot of Train Trace 700 and then I used Daikin softwares they provided. Daikin company itself, they have a software that puts like it's easy to present the table with what all AC units that you have used. So I used that. I used ECAP software for sizing of a lot of fans and blowers
Okay.
in the building. And then I also used one software called McQuaid Duct Sizer,
Okay. Yeah.
where it's very easy to size the ducts. And I think that's it. I also use one ComCheck software.
That is for energy modeling, right?
Yeah, the energy modeling purposes. Yeah.
And the duct sizer software that you said, is it most like you put the CFM and you just play around with the duct to see like duct size as to what matches?
Correct. So all I put is the pressure head value, what I want, and then I just choose the CFM that is required, and I just put like one size of the cross section, or if it's rectangular. So if I let's say I choose like 8 inches, so I just write 8 cross, and then I see the other one automatically comes with it. So if it's like 13 or 14, and then I see that the pressure head is less than what I want, which is 0.1 inches water column, then I just change the value again. And it's mostly it's necessary that I choose like an even numbers with it because odd size ducks are not really like manufactured. That's why.
Makes sense. Yeah, that is pretty common. Same with our plumbing piping as well. Like when we size for pipes, maybe for calculation, 4 inches of pipe is too small, or 5 inches might be enough, but then it's not readily available. So we go for a 6 inches. So if it's more than four, we directly go to a six, leaving the 5 inches. So I think it's the same concept for ducts as well, which is a standard size for manufacturing. Okay, so do you think all of this software should be known by students prior to coming, or can they learn this while they're doing their masters and if they get an internship?
I feel a nice overview of the basic softwares like AutoCAD or Revit is quite nice. But all these softwares like Train, Trace, and all these duct sizes, you can
Mhm.
pick it up quite easily during your masters or during internship as well. Because when I came to the for the internship, they didn't expect me to already know these softwares. They took their
Right.
time with me to teach me this properly, like through projects each day by day. And then I grew like, okay, I understood the software, and then I started using it independently without their supervision.
Makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's a good thing you mentioned. And slightly deviating from the technical side, you mentioned you interned while you were doing your masters. In this terrible market, how did you make that possible? Like the
So it
work
was,
must be intense. It must be very difficult, but how did that happen?
I would say, so all my batchmates and a few of my seniors have a number of how many companies they apply to. And my number was somewhere around, I think, 300 to 350.
Okay.
And it is way less compared to my friends in IT sector because they have a lot of job opportunities. And sadly got rejected by all. And I felt the thing that worked for me is connection. So I reached out to a lot of people on LinkedIn and, try to interact with people, understand what the company wants, try for referrals. The internship that I secured was with, I think, my professor, my mentor at NYU. He helped me a lot in getting that position.
Okay, so it's important to work with professors who have some industry tie-ups as well, right? It can
Yeah.
help. I mean, if your ultimate goal is to join the industry, it's always recommended to be in good networking like conditions with professors just to make sure you have a good relationship with them. So that, and of course, I guess you need to get a good grade in their courses for them to vouch for
Yeah.
you somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool, because a lot of students just reach out to like industry professionals via LinkedIn, and their first message is, "Hey, can you refer me to a company?" I don't think that's a very good approach where you start the conversation with a referral. So when students are reaching out to, let's say, unknown people in LinkedIn, do you suggest them they should follow like a pattern as to what they should do, like maybe send an initial email about something and then ask for referral? How did you do that?
I think me personally, it's just a conversation with an individual who you're looking forward to maybe meeting in person, right? Or someone who has like a vast experience and you just want to learn from them. So I just engage in normal conversation that, hey, I noticed your page and I noticed your experience and it's quite amazing. And maybe we can, have like a quick Zoom call or a quick chat or maybe quick meet, have a coffee if, they are present in New York City somewhere.
Yep.
And then just after conversation, I show them what I have done and all the projects that I have worked on and their opinion on it, if they have any suggestions regarding it. And then in the end, I always bring the conversation of like the company they are working in. If I really like the company, I always ask that, hey, I also want to join that company and what are the ways that I could improve my resume so that it's articulated in a way that might get accepted in that company. If how do I prepare for the interview process? What did you go through? And then if it's possible, do you think you can provide a referral for that role? So I just don't instantly hit the mark that can you provide me the referral? Because I feel personally you got to create a rapport with an individual
Right.
you're conversing with and then maybe ask for a referral because they are also vouching for you and they should know you before they vouch for you.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's important to have an organic conversation with them just to let them know what you're bringing to the table because, like you mentioned, they're vouching for you. So if your profile is not appropriate or if your profile is not as great as what they're looking for, then if they're referring you, that their reputation is also at stake, that they didn't refer a candidate whose resume is good. Sometimes I've seen students have like they have great knowledge, but their resumes are not formatted properly. So I think that's where these mentors or these initial conversations come into play where they can suggest something and then you work on that and then apply and ask for a referral. Right. Okay. So, and when you were applying for internships, was it only in New York or were you applying to the West Coast and other parts of US as well?
I started with only New York, but then after facing rejections, I felt like I should probably expand my horizon. And then I just went everywhere in the United States.
It's always important to have an open mind to be able to relocate, right? And did you ask for relocation assistance when you were applying for the companies in the other areas?
If they have mentioned it, then I did press yes, but
Yeah,
I think it was okay. I would have managed even without the assistance.
makes sense.
But I think that was one mistake that I made, that I wasn't reaching out to the entire United States and I was just focused on like New York City.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's also difficult to know the names of the companies, like
Yeah.
what, because there are in the MEP sector, there are lots of small firms which may or may not hire international students, but not all of them are easily available. So I think it's important to have a wide network, and through that, you can get to know of the different companies where your peers or seniors might be working. And okay, I think you mentioned some very good pointers here, which students can keep in mind when they're applying for internships and full-time roles in the coming years. And since you're in the MEP industry, quickly tell us a few interesting projects that you have worked on in the building industry, if you have anything that comes to your mind.
I think one is the variable refrigerant flow, the VRF system for a building. So I think the best way to explain that is, let's say if there is one flat and then there's other flat right beside it, 201, 202. 201 wants heating at the particular moment, whereas 202 wants cooling at the same moment. So
Right.
if we can provide both at the same time, that is basically what a VRF system does. So I did the whole plan for a 6-story building. I
Residential?
residential building,
Okay.
yeah. I started with basically doing load calculations using train trace software, then creating the worksheet or basically the shop drawing just for the load cal, which is for myself, and then tabulate everything on Excel sheet and then size the ducts accordingly, choose the equipments that went. So I chose the condenser units that went on top, place them on the roof, everything following the NYC building codes of 2022 and ASHRAE codes.
Right.
And then after that, I started placing the ducts and the AC units. And then at the end, I started placing branch controllers and then the refrigerant piping for the branch controllers. Then finally ended it with the riser diagrams for then there's toilet exhaust, there's dryer exhaust, and the other stuff. And then the schedule. And then tabulated everything, and that was it. The one project I'm working currently for this semester is design of HVAC for data centers.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm kind of learning the CFD aspect for it. So I want to create a model on maybe ANSYS Fluent to understand for that one particular room how the flow basically is going on.
Okay.
And then decide on what system I want to apply for it, whether I want the plenum at the bottom, whether I want the plenum on the top, stuff like that.
Okay, good to know. And just for our viewers, I just want to add that a riser diagram, which you mentioned, is more like a skeleton or elevation view of a building. Like if you take away the walls and everything, how will the system work from the lowest level to the highest level? That's how I look at a riser diagram. Because all the systems that we design are basically hidden in the walls or above the ceiling. So nothing is visible. What people see in real life is just a beautiful room with every lights coming in, but they're not seeing what's happening within the walls. So that's what we design as MEP engineers. And you won't believe me, when I first started working in my first company, we had a client who came in. It wasn't really a client, was more like a guest who came to our office for some, I think, some other presentation which was not related to MEP. And they asked us, what do you guys do actually as MEP engineers? So that's where I remember one of my seniors that explained that whatever you're seeing within the walls or whatever you're not able to see within the walls, that's all we design. So it involves a lot of piping, electrical conduits, ductwork, other things, and all of these need to be coordinated. And when you were working as your in your internship, did you also have to attend meetings with clients and architects, or was it mostly your work was mostly designing while your seniors were doing the meetings?
At the company I interned in, they provided me with a lot of opportunities to be included in almost everything. I even went for a site visit to
Okay.
understand shop drawings from 1970s and compared it with the current one, the existing one, and then we are going to renovate that building. So one thing that you mentioned regarding riser diagrams, one important thing that I learned was all buildings in United States, most of it they have a fire safety riser diagram
Mm-hmm.
right in the near the reception area or on the lower level, so that anything happens, the fire truck, the fire safety guys, they can just come in and understand the layout and then provide support. So that was really interesting to know. For the meeting, I was also involved in few meetings under my mentor. I joined with him, and whatever changes the other departments made, like architects, lighting people, and then the structural engineers, I
Mm-hmm.
made the like I noted down these changes and I made the update on the shop drawings.
Okay.
So I was involved. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to be involved in a lot of these things.
Okay. Great. And since we are coming towards the end, I have a couple of quick questions for you. So you're currently in your fourth semester, right?
Yeah.
How is the full-time job search going on?
Which is it is tough, but I doing it. I have one offer which I have
Okay.
accepted from. It's the same from my internship company.
So that's a return
I
offer,
would
yeah?
love the opportunity to work with them again.
Great. Congrats on that, firstly. I
Thank you
mean,
so
I
much.
think this is the importance of an internship where you do well and you get a return offer. And that is the probably the safest, and I should say it can be also a little bit stress-free because now you know you have a job in hand and it can help you prepare and focus on your coursework a little bit while you apply elsewhere as well. So definitely congrats on that in this choppy market to secure a full-time job 3 months before you're graduating. So, or even more because you're having a return offer, you probably had it from a little while back. But definitely it's a great thing. And aside from courses, internship, HVAC, what is your hobby like? What do you do outside of work?
So I do game a lot.
Okay.
And I'm right now. I'm also part of again an automotive club at NYU. So I'm taking credits. It's called VIP. So
Okay.
I'm part of an team called NYU Motorsports where we do off-road competition. So we are working on together and building a car. So I have a lot of like friends there. I hang out with them, and together we ideate, solve problems, and work on the car. And then if I'm not involved in like my project work or job search or the VIP stuff, I game a lot, talk to my friends, and that's it.
Okay. And are you also doing any on-campus job at NYU in the current semester?
Current- Currently, yes, I am a course assistant for engineering design method class, which is we are teaching you mostly freshmen and sophomore students with
Mhm.
SolidWorks and how to prepare drawings for industry and understanding that.
Well, I think you should be a role model for a lot of future students because you came to the US having two internships back in India. You did your coursework, you managed an internship in this market, you got a full-time return offer, and then you're part of the NYU Automotive Club. At the same time, you're doing 20 hours of on-campus job and you also do gaming. So how
I
do you
had a lot of help.
all of this?
I had a lot of help, a lot of mentors, and people who directed me in the right path and helped me, get like one step at a time. You yourself helped me a lot, so I want to say that.
I mean, happy to help all students. I mean, I think that's what we all should try to do. Like, as you'll graduate, you'll also see a lot of students reaching out to you. And it's always better to give back to the society and the students in some way, like whichever capacity we can, it's always good to just give back. So, yeah, since we are coming to the end, do you have any suggestions or any concluding comments for the class of 2025?
I'll say I know rejection hurts a lot, but one thing that coming to NYU and coming to like changing a country has taught me is it's okay if you face a rejections. All you got to do is like just keep going and keep applying, and one step at a time, and we'll reach a place that we want eventually. And yeah, that's it. But rejection hurts a lot initially, but we get used to it, and then
You mentioned you applied to 350 jobs, right?
yeah.
And that you said was on the lower number because the people in tech and IT had applied to even more.
Yeah, thousands, thousands.
I guess the key here, from what I can understand, is just keep applying. It's always important to get that one role. And once you get that one offer, it makes life a little easier after that. Cool. Thank you so much, Vyush, for your time today. I mean, it was lovely speaking with you and discussing the
Likewise.
nuances of mechanical engineering and the MEP sector, which is not always widely spoken in many universities, as they focus mostly on the manufacturing and robotics side. But hopefully, students will gain some insights from this, our conversation, and hopefully, many students will reach out to you to learn more about the MEP systems. And
Happy
maybe
to
you
help.
can share some valuable insights with them and your opinion and how you think about the industry in general. Cool. Thank you again for your time. Hopefully, we'll be in touch, and I'll invite you in a few more months for one more episode once you have started your full time job and a little bit accustomed to the industry as a full time
For
employee.
sure. For
Trust
sure.
me on one thing, there will be way more responsibilities as you get
Mm,
a full time role compared to an internship, but I'm pretty sure you'll be doing great there.
yeah. This is my first full-time role, so I'm quite excited for it.
Yeah, just be excited and keep working hard. I mean, you'll do great. I mean, you're already doing great. Just keep up with the flow and you should be fine.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you again for your time.
For sure.
Thanks for tuning in. Got questions or suggestions? Drop me an email at daybrouponair@gmail.com. Catch you in the next episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.